Our first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for walking out of the delivery room while my fiancé was giving birth? This happened 2 weeks ago. My 28 male, fiancé, 26 female, and I just had a baby boy, and it's been difficult already without her being upset with me after what happened. I met her at a bar I used to hang out with my friends at. We dated for 8 months, and I decided to propose when she told me she was pregnant and wanted to have the baby. We both agreed on getting married after our baby is born. She was introduced to my family who welcomed her and took care of her, and she started spending time with them. I learned that she was engaged to her late fiancé for 4 years, but he got sick and passed away at a young age. She told me she had recurrent dreams about him. I wasn't upset because no one controls what they see in their dreams, but sometimes she mumbles his name and visits his grave on his birthday and still keeps their rings in our house. When she went into labor, I drove to the hospital to be with her, since she expressed to me how terrified she was after talking to her group of moms who had experience with labor/birth. Her labor lasted longer than expected. Her mom arrived when she was taken to the delivery room. She was feeling so much stress and even cried, which made it more difficult. I tried to reassure her and told her to think about our baby and just focus on that. She suddenly started screaming. First, she yelled her deceased dad's name, then let go of my hand and started yelling out her deceased fiancé's name and just continued to yell that name at the top of her lungs. I was shocked. I didn't know how to act. I was upset. I get she was feeling stress, but I don't get why she kept calling his name, till the point where the nurse wanted to ask me something and used the name my fiancé was calling out to call me, thinking it was my name. I was so embarrassed for having to correct her, as she looked confused. I tried to calm my fiancé down, but she continued, so I just walked out and told her mom to go be with her. I felt absolutely awful. I sat outside. I was literally shaking. She gave birth, and her mom walked up to me to give the news. I was happy my son was finally born. I went in to see them both for a short time before he was taken. My fiancé returned home and started berating me for walking out on her like that, and told me that what I did was unacceptable. I told her why, but she completely avoided this and tried to say that it didn't matter and that I was being ridiculous while she was feeling pain. We argued about it, and she brought up that she called out the names of the 2 most important people in her life, then went into the bedroom, leaving me feeling awful and guilty. She is expecting an apology and wants me to take her to stay at her mom's for a few days, since I was making her stressed out. And now for the top comments of this post. Wait, so her deceased fiancé is more important in her life than you, her current fiancé? Am I misunderstanding this? Not the a-hole. Current fiancé and baby. To be fair, she hadn't met the baby yet, and for all she knew, the baby would be a prick. Your fiancé is so wrong. She's projecting some serious guilt onto you, and do not take that crap. She has the unmitigated gall to be upset at you and has taken no responsibility for what she did/said. OP, you need to slow your roll on the wedding. Your fiancé is not over her ex. At best, you are a placeholder. At worst, a sperm donor. You had no way of knowing before the delivery date that she was this damaged. You know now. Tread carefully. Not the a-hole. Your fiancé is not over her ex. Seriously, I'm amazed at the "you're the a-hole" responses in here. She explicitly said to OP's face that her deceased ex-fiancé is more important to her than OP. She's wanted to go stay at her mom's house in disregard for me, wanting to spend time with my son and bond with him. I don't know if I should be saying this, but I think that she's punishing me by taking my son and refusing to stay, saying I should respect her wish of wanting to calm down and relax and spend time with family. I don't know if I was pressuring her, but she just won't let go of what happened and keeps blaming me. You know, I was ready to say everyone sucks here until I read she called out the names of the 2 most important people in her life. Solidly not the a-hole. If not for the baby, I'd be saying you should tell her to F herself. Because there's a baby, you guys need couples counseling and she needs individual. Rough situation, man. I hope it gets better. Not the a-hole. If it had seemed like she still wanted you there, then you would be the a-hole for walking out no matter how distressed or irrational she was. But at the point she is screaming her ex's name over and over, it genuinely seems like she didn't want you there or that your presence was upsetting her. You did the right thing to step out. What she threw in your face about him and her dad being the 2 most important people in her life was also incredibly cruel. Wanting to keep rings or photos from a deceased fiancé is completely understandable, but unfavorably comparing your living partner to the deceased one to your living partner's face is just a horrible, cruel thing to do. If there wasn't a baby involved, I would say to let her know that's completely unacceptable and you won't stick around if it continues. But man, a baby sure does complicate things. I don't know what to advise you, but I don't think the way your girlfriend is treating you is normal or healthy. She's idolizing the deceased fiancé. He'll never have another chance to make a mistake or disappoint her. He also can't make her happy or build a life with her, and she could do with some counseling to appreciate life with you and her baby going forward. Now let's get to our second story. Am I the a-hole for only paying for my biological siblings' college fund? So I, 19 female, was given a sizable amount of inheritance from my grandfather that I could use for whatever I wished for once he passed on. So when I turned 18, I received about 150,000 euro, and because of my academic scholarship, I don't have to pay for college. So after I invested part of the money and also put some away for a rainy day, I still had about 20 to 30,000 left over, and that's when my stepmother became involved. So, I have two siblings, one bio, 6, and one step, 8, and honestly have a good relationship with both, even though I don't get along with my stepmother due to reasons I would rather not say. So stepmother decided to invite a couple of neighbors over for a barbecue. So, the topic of school came up, and my stepmother had said she was making a college account for my little sister, Step, and I absent-mindedly asked about giving them both an equal amount of my granddad's inheritance, and her response was to transfer the money into her account, and she'll transfer the money to the reflective college funds. I found this really weird, and knowing my stepmother's history, I said I would like to do the transaction myself, so I knew it was fair on both kiddos, and she blew up. I decided to leave and left it be for a few days, and that's when I received a text from my stepmother asking when I was transferring the money to my stepsister's college fund, and that's when I reminded her I was giving equal amounts to both kiddos, and that's when she said they only put a college fund aside for my sister. And when I asked about my brother, she said that he has his own mother and family to set that up for him, and because of the amount they have to pay for his issues, ADHD, dyspraxia, and Asperger's, she didn't see why they should have to pay for his college. When I say I blew up, I mean I blew up and let out a lot of resentment when it came to us as kids, and how her favoritism shouldn't be tolerated in any way, shape, or form, and how disgusted I was at both her and my father that they were letting this happen. So, a few days rolled by, and that's when I decided all the money was going to be put aside for my bio brother's college fund and tests, when the harassment started from both of my parents because I was putting my sister's future at risk, which is utter crap, because they have over 10 years to save for her education. My stepmother has openly demanded for more money out of my fund, and I have and will refuse till furthermore, because that little boy deserves as much of a chance as my stepsister, and hopefully will for the future. I do kind of feel guilty, but I had to put him first because he's my little brother, and I love him, and he's not going to grow up thinking he's unloved because he's different. So guys, am I the a-hole? Let's read the top judgment of this post. Not the a-hole. You are making up for the unequal treatment of your brother. It's your money, and you can choose to do with it as you wish. Your stepmom sounds like a greedy, entitled a-hole. That's not how anyone should respond to someone's very generous offer. I've decided to give my brother $25,000 and my stepsister $5,000. She deserves more money. You're not happy with $5,000? Okay then, I've changed my mind. It's $4,500. And the more unhappy you are, the more the amount will change. It's entirely up to you. Not the best response to someone's greed, but arguably one of the more satisfying ways to shut someone down. Not the a-hole. And your stepmother could not be more obvious about her lack of trustworthiness. And regardless of what you decide to do for your sibling and step-sibling, do not put that money anywhere where your father or stepmother has access to it. Why not just create a college fund for your brother yourself? This way, you don't have to worry about your greedy stepmother having access to it, or pressuring your father for it. And tell your father and stepmother to fall over and die. You're under no obligation to help anyone with their college education. Not the a-hole. Do not give your dad or stepmom any money to handle. You can't trust them with your money. Instead, invest the money yourself, in your own name, with the intention that it could be used for your brother's future expenses as needed. We have a little update from Opie. Update. So everyone, I've taken a lot of your advice and I decided I'd share these thoughts with you. So I'm going to give about 25,000 for my brother's college/future, but this is going to be put in a trust fund till he's 18, which is going to be managed by myself and his grandmother. I've also decided I'd pay both his tuition directly if he does decide on college, while I'd advise him for rent/food/house expenses if he wants with the remaining money. I'm also going to specifically make sure parents can't take any of that income with the threat of a solicitor. Treat it as I come to it. The next thing I've decided, although controversial, is to put 5,000 aside for my sister, which she can get if she sticks to 2 conditions: doesn't share it with her parents, and treats both my brother and I with respect once she's 21, because her father also is in charge of her college fund, so I know she will have some money. I've officially decided my parents and I will not communicate unless it's about my siblings. Have agreed with my father. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for wanting to make my daughter act like a mother/adult? I will try to make this short and sweet. 4 years ago, we told our 27-year-old single mother, daughter, and grandson to come live with us so she can go to school free in our state due to us being vets. We said we would help with our grandson, now 5, until she got daycare set up. She dragged her feet for months, then knowingly took him to a drug addict. Once I found out, I refused to let him go back, and my husband and I said we wanted to vet the next sitter. It was over 2 years before my husband found a babysitter that was a really good one. She is amazing. Our daughter took a new job about a year ago and works swing shift, so now we provide all babysitting all the time. She works full-time with alternate weekends scheduled and goes to school full-time. She is gone most of the time. She doesn't contribute the money she saves in daycare to our additional costs of having our grandson full-time, taking him to all his appointments, and taking to/from school. I brought this up to my husband and he says that we don't babysit our grandson. We are spending time with him. I get what he means by that, but in the end, we do have him all the time. We can't go anywhere, just us. All of our trips over the last 2 years have been canceled due to her not having a babysitter to cover for the hours she is at work, and since it isn't inconveniencing her, she doesn't try to get a backup sitter. We had an international trip planned and she couldn't find a babysitter, so I recommended she take some vacation days to care for her son. She refused and threw a drama fit about how this is what family does, support each other, and my husband caved and canceled our trip, so once again, we could take care of her son. When she is home, she sits on her phone while her son just sits there watching TV, instead of taking him out back to play on the trampoline and fort that he has. I am fed up. I love and adore my grandson. This isn't about him. It's about our daughter being so codependent that my husband and I can't do anything in our retirement except watch our grandson. Every trip we had made, we had to take him with us. I told her that she has until June, when she graduates, to get her schedule changed to day shift and start taking him to the daycare we found. I also said she will need to start paying us the $400 per month she is saving on daycare to help offset our costs. She is pissed. She threw a fit saying she can't control what shift she is on, despite changing it for school, and I am purposely trying to make things harder for her. She is 31 years old now. She has never lived in her own, ever. She has either had us or her mom helping her raise her son. We take care of everything in the house. She literally just goes to work, school, and home. She has no household responsibilities. I do the cooking and cleaning. Am I the a-hole for trying to make her accountable for her son as a mother and adult? Not the a-hole. I'm pretty sure what you are doing is called being a parent and trying to encourage your kid to grow up. Honestly, you've probably been way too easy on her for way too many years, which has basically led to the problem you have now. But it's difficult when you got a young kid involved. I am a lot less compassionate when it comes to her because as a woman, I see what she is doing, the manipulation, acting like the victim, and playing on her dad's emotions. My husband has asked me to ease back because he is scared she will get butthurt, take off with our grandson, and we won't see him again. She can't live on her own. She has no idea, and anytime a guy gives her attention, she will bail on our grandson. It's really hard for me to keep my mouth in check. I have raised that girl since she was 10, and she is my daughter. I just hate what is going on. Your husband is enabling her to continue hurting her child. That poor kid is growing up knowing their mother doesn't even like them, feeling like they're just an inconvenience when their mother throws a fit over having to take care of them. That kind of scar lasts a lifetime. This is why people need to stop having kids they don't even want by their own actions. Don't get me wrong. She loves her son, no question. She just lacks the maturity to put him first. Her only responsibilities are work, school, and her son in that order. Not the a-hole. You aren't babysitting or simply spending time with your grandson, you are raising him. Your daughter needs to grow the hell up. She chose to have that child. It's her responsibility to make sacrifices for them and smile while doing it because they are for her child that she chose to have. You need to stop enabling your daughter's bad behavior at this point. Can you help? Absolutely. But you shouldn't be responsible for everything to the point your vacation gets canceled because she can't be bothered to be a mother after choosing to be one. Thank you for the feedback. Everyone sucks here. You've definitely been enabling her for a long time, and you shouldn't have caved to her drama fit that led you canceling your international trip. Tough luck for her, but she needs to grow up. And that's our video for today, guys. As always, leave your comment below and don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.